Hi there, and welcome to The Community Producers, a show assembled by volunteers like myself. I'm your host, Cheyanna Shypitka. Today on our show, we will be looking at some hooping in the park, as well as some volunteer firefighter training and more. Volunteer firefighters from around the province gathered in Grand Forks for various training sessions. We had the chance to take in this annual provincial event. Take a look.
So here in Grand Forks, we've got the annual Volunteer Firefighters Association of BC Spring Training Weekend going on. This event is hosted annually, and it does move around year to year. The fire department in Oliver is sort of a key organizer of this every other year. Grand Forks last hosted in 2011, so 6 years ago. This is our second attempt at it. Firefighters from Vancouver Island, we've got them from the Cariboo region, all through the Okanagan, the Kootenays. We've got about 250, a little over 250 firefighters attending our sessions. Another 50 have come in to assist us as instructors. We've got 26 different sessions spread between 2 different locations. So we're using our brand new fire training ground. We've been building this for about 2 years, and this is sort of the first major event that we've had here. We did put a lot of effort in at the last minute to get everything ready. And we've got 9 different sessions going on here. So behind me we've got a car fire prop, which is propane powered, so they can practice putting out car fires. Fortis is here with a gas meter brake, so if a gas meter was on fire, we're simulating that. We've got a foam pit off to my left, which is going to simulate car fires or fuel fires. Behind me, we've also got low-angle rope, so slope rescue. Ministry of Environment is here and is showing damming and diking, how to contain a spill to keep it from getting into a watershed. So those are the types of things that are going on here at the training ground. Over at the other end, we've got confined space, forcible entry. We've got sprinkler protection. So for wildfires, that's how we would protect a house to keep the wildfire if it's coming in, to not burn the house down. We've got some other just life safety skills, like how to get out of an entanglement if you got caught up in fallen wires and things like that. Fortis Electric is here to talk about if the down power lines, how to stay safe around those. So lots of different things for pretty much any level of firefighter. So far, the people I've been talking to really seem to be quite pleased with the program, and we're really happy about that, because when you've got 26 instructors coming in, that's organizing that is quite the deal. But yeah, every instructor I've talked to has said, yeah, their classes are full with the 9 or 10 students per session that we expect. So nobody's ditching and going on to do something else. So it's been really quite positive so far. A lot of the smaller volunteer departments may not have the same budget to bring in outside training. For some departments, this is a major part of their training that's done outside of just their own internal department training, and it's really important from a training perspective, because they get exposed to a lot of different things. Every student here is going to go through 8 different sessions through the weekend out of 6, and so they get a good variety of different skills that they can get their hands on, some of which maybe their fire department doesn't do yet, but maybe is thinking about. So it gives them a little bit of exposure to that. The other thing that's really great about this is the way we've got it scheduled. We've broken up people coming from the same department into different groups, so you also tend to, rather than working together just within your own little tight-knit group, we have them split up so that they have a lot of networking opportunities with other departments. Grand Forks, we're really fortunate. We've got 48 volunteer firefighters right now. We are looking for a couple of more, but we are really fortunate. In some departments, recruitment is really a challenge because there is a significant time commitment for this. Being able to have an event like this also, I think, helps get people's enthusiasm up a little bit, because they do get their hands on to all kinds of different skills and different types of tools and different techniques. Grand Forks, contact us at the Grand Forks Fire Department. If you're elsewhere in the Kootenay region, contact your local fire department, and I'm sure they'd be very happy to talk to you, because most of the volunteer fire departments are actively looking to boost their numbers.
The Trail Health and Environment Committee recently produced a series of videos on how to renovate homes safely. In this first video, we look at how to keep dust down on an indoor renovation.
I'm Liz. I'm a registered dental hygienist. This is Eric, I moved to East Trail a couple of years ago. Eric lives just a couple blocks away. Apparently, he had his eye on me for a while before we started dating a couple of years ago. We are happy to call Trail our home. When I moved to Trail 3 years ago, I knew when I was looking for a house that I wanted something to fix up. I wanted to make sure I was doing this correctly, so that's how come I contacted the Trail Area Health and Environment Program for them to help me along my way. My first big project here is to knock down a doorway between the living room and the bedroom. When you start to demolition things, dust gets out that may have been trapped behind building walls or under carpets for many decades. Containing the area around your project will prevent the spread of dust, keeping the rest of the house clean and safe. It also makes cleanup much easier. If some larger items need to stay, cover them with plastic that is taped down or securely wrapped underneath the item. I have an old house, so we tape plastic over the radiators. If you have heat vents, cover them and turn off the heat or air conditioning to make sure dust from the project area doesn't get into the ducts where it can be blown around the rest of the house. You want to prevent all dust from escaping, so simply closing a door will not seal off the room properly. You need to seal it off with plastic sheeting that is taped in place. To create a flapped entry door, cut plastic sheeting to a size slightly larger than the door frame and tape it on all sides, including the floor. Once in place, you need to make a vertical slit in the plastic so you can walk in and out. A handy trick is to put a long piece of tape down the center of the plastic and then cut through the tape to make a slit. This will stop the plastic from ripping. Make sure the slit is tall enough for you to get through easily and leave a few inches uncut on the bottom to capture dust on the floor of the project area. Now, create your flap. Standing on the outside of the containment, cut another piece of plastic the size of the doorway and tape it only at the top. Make sure it will extend below the bottom of the slit in the other sheet. A more complex containment includes dividing a large room in two or creating the containment directly below an attic hatch. For this type of containment, tape the plastic to the ceiling, along the sides of walls, and any seams between sheets of plastic, and tape it closed along the floor. Extendable poles are a big help for larger containments. These poles will hold the plastic up to the ceiling while you tape and can be left in place while you work. This is really useful for longer projects, so you don't have to keep retaping every few days. Once the containment is up, you will likely also need to make a flapped entry door on one side of the containment. For work in attics, you can do a small version of this right under an attic hatch. Depending on the work you are doing, you may want to lay plastic sheeting on the floor to collect dust as you work. This is particularly important while working in carpeted places where the carpet is not being removed. In our case, we just placed plastic over the floor to help protect it and to make a path where we could carry out the debris. Inspect your containment daily to make sure it is still 100% secure and in place. Retape any sections that have started to fall down. I like to keep it in place for the duration of my projects, as it also stops the spread of other renovation dust like drywall dust. I knew between the two of us that we'd be able to make a proper containment.
And I was only happy to help.
Joining us now is Shawna The Hooligan. Recently moved from Jasper to Nelson, she is currently hosting Flow Jams in the park Thursday evenings. Thanks for joining us, Shawna. What can you tell us about Flow Jams?
Flow jams are basically jams where people get together with their flow toys and jam.
Tell us a little more about flow toys. What sort of things are they?
Flow toys basically consist of moving and flowing with the props such as hula hoops, staffs, poi, juggling, contact juggling, anywhere where you have an object and you're moving and dancing with it.
How long have you been doing this?
I've been hula hooping for 5 years. I've started flow jams in Jasper about 4 years ago, and I found I really would love to put some flow jams, organize some flow jams here in the park.
Nice.
Because I feel like there's a lot of flow artists in town, but there's no really organized thing for them to get together and play and learn and share. People have different styles and different moves, and when people get together and play with these toys, we can learn and share moves with each other.
What would you say your favorite move is?
It doesn't actually have a name for it, but I would be happy to show you.
All right, let's see.
I'm gonna need your assistance for this one.
Okay.
So we're gonna do the kickstart. What you're gonna do is you're gonna put your hand there and push it.
Okay.
Can you do that?
I can do that.
Okay. Let's try again. But this time just with one hand and put a little bit more force. Yeah.
Okay.
That was perfect. You're gonna do that on my foot.
On your foot?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm gonna put my foot out and you're gonna kickstart it for me because I can't do this move by myself. So I'm gonna need one moment. You're gonna put it on this foot over here.
Okay.
Okay? But only when I say ready.
What would you say some of the challenges are of doing hoop art?
Well, some moves can be extremely frustrating and challenging to learn. It definitely takes some time and patience. To be into hooping, you really got to want to do it because you're not always going to have someone there to help you learn new moves or help inspire you to just pick up a hoop and play. You're not always going to have someone. So I find watching videos on YouTube of other hoopers inspires me to pick up my hoop because I'll see them do a trick and I'm like, oh wow, that looks really amazing. So I'll watch it over and over to try to learn how to do that trick. What made me want to hoop was I saw my friend in her living room. When I first thought of hooping at this point, I thought of hooping as that. It's what most people think of it, but nowadays it's grown into so much more. And I saw my friend doing this in the living room and this, and I thought it looked so mesmerizing and I was like, I want to learn to do that. So she started to teach me and I couldn't quite get the moves. I was just visiting her, so I went home and it took me 3 months to find a homemade, like awesome quality hula hoop. You require a special hula hoop. I say special because most people think of a hula hoop as one of those little plastic ones that you buy at the dollar store or Toys R Us or whatever. Just those really small, light, crappy ones that kink really easily. These ones are really strong. They're made of polypro tubing or HDPE tubing, which is, it's very strong and it's very solid. So when you're doing moves like this, the hoop's not flopping around and bouncing back and forth.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's a big difference between beginner hoops and more advanced hoops. Beginner hoops tend to be big and heavy because that weight pushes itself around you, so it essentially does all the work for you. Whereas a smaller, lighter one requires more work in order to keep it up.
Shawna, can anyone hula hoop?
Actually, that's funny you ask. Anyone can hoop from the age, I've seen 3-year-olds hoop and I've seen 90-year-olds hoop. I could teach pretty much anyone, depending on the moves. Here, would you like to try?
Sure.
Okay, so we're gonna start, I'm gonna teach you one of the most common moves in the hooping world, called the weave. So you're gonna start with your hand inside the hoop. So you're gonna face that way, so we're facing the same way. You're gonna grab a hold of it, but you wanna make sure the hoop is on your side like so. So close your hand, and you're gonna bring the hoop over and down as you're drawing a figure 8. Now you can try switching hands. Now switch back to your right hand.
Oop, nope.
Yeah, there you go. And now we're gonna do a little bit more of a technical move. So I want you to hoop with your right hand. And now as the hoop's coming down, right here, you are going to pass the hoop under your leg while switching hands. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Here you go.
Thanks, Shawna.
Yeah, my pleasure.
That was really fun, Shawna. Thanks.
Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
How can people get a hold of you if they want to see more?
They can contact me through Spiral Motion on Facebook, and we'll be here in the park every Thursday night at 7 p.m. all summer long.
Up next is another in-depth look at a past sculpture walk artist. Here we see some fiber art being done by Cheyanna Shypitka, an artist out of Nelson.
Ta-da! I actually moved here from Manitoba to take the fiber program at the Kootenay School of Art. I came here as a seamstress, so that was initially the draw to heighten my sewing skills, but I got a whole lot more in the bargain. I graduated KSA in 2012. I've only really identified as an artist since graduating from KSA. Welcome to my workroom. This is my studio. Part of my work is as a seamstress. I do alterations and custom sewing projects. So this is where that magic happens. It's a chaotic world, but a beautiful one.
Why'd you have to be so beautiful?
I fell in love with sewing because it offered me a way not to look like everyone else. It was a tool with which I could create my own sense of identity.
Why'd you have to be so beautiful?
What I really like to do is art projects involving found and recycled materials. The title of my piece is Notes of Nelson. It's been in my mind since school. There's two elements to this project. One is the coat, and I'm building it out of paper notes that I've found on the streets of Nelson over the past 3 years. Practically speaking, it needs to sit on something. So I needed to build a structure to hold this coat, and so that's where the metalwork comes in. I've never really sculpted with metal before, and I just kind of went with it. It's just kind of wrapped around nothing, really. It's just a hollow form, wire structure. I love it. And just using all of my own dimensions as a guide. So she's kneeling down, and she's got one hand outstretched, and she's finding a note. This is just the coolest thing. I turn into a kid whenever I'm actually working on a loom. I'm just so excited. Because my woman is quite see-through. She doesn't have much flesh on her. So I'm just gonna weave these ribbons just as another texture to throw into her form. This is one of the steps of the coat process. And so from this, I've built my pattern pieces. You know, so I have a paper pattern version of this whole thing. The next step was I made a paper prototype. This is the back, so some little button details. I'm gonna put this on the metal figure just so I can see how it looks, because paper lays very differently from fabric. It's stiffer, it has more of a plane, it doesn't have a drape. So I counted this morning, and I think I have over 600 notes. So now, after collecting these notes, step 2 is cleaning them. So it's just water. I just want to lift off some of the dirt. And then we dry it out and flatten it. So it's ready to be sewn now. I take each note and I sew it down onto a cotton backing just to give it some more structure. Ta-da! Now I'm gonna sew these together. This is the whole point of this project. So I can sew. From these pieces, I will be sewn into an actual coat using the pattern pieces that I have. The biggest challenge in this project is knowing that it's gonna sit outside for a year, and I'm doing it out of paper. I'm going to be dousing the whole thing in a million layers of epoxy. I have been so touched by the notes that I found on the street. Sometimes how they're written or what they say are just really a reflection of the community that I live in. What I hope people take away from this project is just the interconnectedness of our community and what we all have in common.
We've got a musical treat for you now from an upcoming local band. The song and video, Riding the High Wire, was written to highlight the mining history of our area. This project captures some of the excitement, pride, and daily struggles of a miner in the Kaslo area from the early 1900s. It was filmed in the Montezuma aerial tramline and the Kaslo Moye, two historical sites in the Kaslo area. The song was written and performed by Sean Rodman and the Red-Eyed Soul, a four-piece band comprised of Selkirk College Musical School grads. Here now is Riding the High Wire. Enjoy!
Train the sand in, silver's pumping through the blood in my veins. With the pack horse I was handed, rolling through the mountains still untamed. 'Cause they're stringing up the cables, there's hard honest work that could make a fella rich. And they say the tram is able to take you up the steepest mountain pitch. 'Cause we're riding the high wire of fortune. This mine's the jackpot, so they say. Yeah, we're all gonna get our fair portion. So sweat and toil through another mountain of a day. And at the base camp by the fire, the engineers are fussing over blue. How and raise the wires across the tramway tower stand. And the snow was flying sideways, the ponies kept on turning as they squeaked and roared. An avalanche took out the tramway, worked frozen fingers to the bone. 'Cause we're riding the high wire of fortune, and this mine's the jackpot, so they say. Yeah, we're all gonna get our fair portion. So sweat and toil through another mountain of a day. Kept that tramway turning, hauling all that ore down the mountainside. With all the cash that we were earning, pockets nearly burst with our silver pride. In the days of silver mining, far off deep in the mountains wild, well, our silver hearts were burning and our dreams were rich. Oh, wild.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Community Producers. If you have content or video you'd like to share with us, contact us through our Shaw TV Kootenay's Facebook page or via email. I'll leave you now with a special performance from Shawna The Hooligan. I'm Cheyanna Shypitka. Thanks for watching.